Welcome back to another video. This is gonna be a video about the nightlife in Cuba. Now, you know your boy likes to party, so I was definitely out in them Cuba streets. So I'm gonna tell you about my experience. I'm gonna tell you what club to go to, because there's only really one club to go to in Cuba. The rest of the spots are dead. So I'm gonna be telling you about that spot, I'm gonna be telling you about the girls, and I'm gonna be telling you about the overall experience in Cuba. I'm gonna break this video up into two parts. This is part one. Part one is gonna be, so all the footage that you're gonna see is from a Thursday night. Part two is from a Friday night. So you can see the difference between both nights. But before I get into the video, you know I gotta thank my people for subscribing to my channel from the bottom of my heart. And I know I say this every video, but I'm at like 720 subscribers. I'm getting up there. I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so keep on subscribing to my channel from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate every single one of you guys. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Overall, I would give the nightlife in Cuba a solid 5 out of 10. And mainly that's because of one spot that was really dope. If it wasn't for that one spot, I would have to give it a 1 out of 10. Like I said, all the footage that you're gonna see is from a Thursday night. So this night, and what you're looking at now, is me walking around Havana Vieja, which is the old city in Havana, Cuba. So this night, before I went out, I used maps.me to find bars and restaurants that were nearby. And on this street, there was a decent amount of bars. So I walked down the street and I checked out a couple of them. If you're gonna go to Cuba, you need to download maps.me. It's an app that allows you to download a map of Cuba that you can use offline. This is not a sponsorship, but the app, it was very, very helpful. So before your trip, you download the app, you download a map of Cuba, and once you get to Cuba, if you don't have any internet, you can still use the app. This is important because in Cuba, there's gonna be times where you don't have any internet. So if you need to find a restaurant, bar, supermarket, any location, or if you wanna find how to get somewhere, you can use this app. There was a time where I went somewhere and the cab driver didn't know how to get there, and I used that app to help him get me there. So highly recommend it, 10 out of 10. So I used the app, found a couple bars, and I went to check them out. As you can see, for the most part, it is pretty dead. There's not a lot going on. Some of the bars that we checked out had no customers. Some of them had 2 or 3. For the most part, overall, everything was dead. And that's because a lot of these bars, especially in the old city in Havana Vieja, a lot of these bars are aimed at tourists. So because there's not a lot of tourism in Cuba now, a lot of these spots are gonna be dead. And even though there's a lot of locals who live in this neighborhood, you won't catch them going to these spots here because it's too expensive. And I'm saying this as of September 2022. So hopefully in a couple months or next year, things pick up a bit. So there'll be a lot more going on, not like there is now. Even if you don't like to party or go to bars, I still recommend that you go out at night in Cuba. It is an experience and it is very interesting. One thing that I heard people say before my trip to Cuba was that when you go to Cuba, you're gonna feel like you're living in the 1960s and 70s. That is very true. And when you go out at night, it really brings it out. It really feels like an apocalypse at night because of how it looks and the fact that some of these streets were so empty. And another thing that surprised me about Cuba is that there's a lot of places with barely any street light. And even in this neighborhood in Havana Vieja, which is like the touristy area, there's a lot of streets without any street lights. So there's a lot of places that look real shady. And that was one thing that I'm not used to seeing. Like, let me show you this picture of this pharmacy that I happened to walk by. And let me show you some footage of some of these like dark areas. And when I tell you they look shady as fuck, they look mad shady. I was thinking, if I die here or if I get kidnapped here, I would disappear. Nobody would ever know, because there's some of these places, they're like so dead and they look so dark, and all the buildings look old. It's an interesting experience. The one thing about Cuba though is it is hella safe. It is the safest place that I've been to. There's barely any crime. So when you go out at night and you're experiencing everything, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be good. So back to this Thursday night. So we walked around for a bit. There was nothing going on. So then we ended up taking a cab to the Cuban Art Factory. So this is the spot that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. So if you like to party or if you just like to chill out at night, this is the place that you need to go to. This is a one-stop shop. In Spanish, it's called La Fabrica de Arte, the Cuban Art Factory. So we took a cab from Havana Vieja to the Cuban Art Factory. And this is how it works. So once you get there, you are gonna pay 250 Cuban pesos to get in. That's about $2.50. So the Cuban Art Factory used to be a cooking oil factory, and they turned it into a club slash art gallery. So it's about 5 levels, and they have different areas where they have different things going on. So for example, at 3 of those areas, they're either gonna be playing music, have a DJ, or live performance. In one of those areas, they have this huge theater with 2 levels and a bar. And then if you continue going up, then they have an art gallery. They also have a couple spots where you can just sit down and chill and have a conversation. You can still listen to the music from the other areas, but you can still have a conversation and just chill out, meet new people. They also have this little thing that looks like a food truck with seats where you can get something to eat. And they also have a restaurant, like a full-fledged restaurant. And that's the reason why I call it a one-stop shop, because they have everything. And because they have so many things, you're gonna meet all kinds of people when you get here. There's a lot of local Cubans. There's a lot of people who are traveling. So you're gonna meet a lot of people while you're here. So back to what I was saying. So you pay $250 to get in. Once you pay, you are gonna get a card. It looks like a stamp card. While you are inside, you are not gonna pay for anything. So when you get food or you get drinks, they're gonna write it down on the card. Whenever you decide to leave, before you exit, that is when you're gonna pay for everything that you consumed while you were inside. So make sure you keep the card throughout the night. If you lose the card, it is gonna cost you $30 to exit. So even if you don't get anything, you still need to hand in the card at the end of the night. For example, I was with my girl. So whenever we got something, I always put it on my card. And even though she didn't get anything, she still had to turn it in at the end of the night. And make sure you keep it, because I highly doubt that you're gonna spend more than $30 while you're inside. Everything was hella cheap. Like the drinks were 150, 200, 300, 400 Cuban pesos, which is like $2, $3, $4. And they were really good drinks. They were not like some watered down shit. They were really good drinks. So then you go inside and then you decide what area you want to go to. If you want to see a full tour, check out the next video, which is going to be part 2. Part 2, I walk around a lot. And the reason I really like this spot is because you might be in one area and they might be playing some type of music. And if you don't like the music, you can just walk down, take a couple steps, and you'll be at a different area. And it's a whole different vibe. Different music, different people. If you don't like that, then you can continue walking. Whole different vibe again. You don't like the vibes again? Keep on walking. And it feels like you're in different places. And then if you don't want to listen to any music, then you can check out the art gallery or go to the theater. So you have a lot of options. And for my single guys out there, there was a whole bunch of girls inside. Mind you, I was with my girl, so I wasn't really looking like that. But from what I saw, bro, there were so many girls inside. So if you're a single guy, you're gonna have plenty of options. And if you get rejected, just go to a different area and try again. Fuck it. And also, if you want to just chill, if you're with your girl, or you're a group of girls, you're gonna have a good time in this spot. This is the only spot that you need to go to. After I found this spot, whenever we went out to party, this is where we went. And before you head out, of course, you gotta get some food, because at night, there's not gonna be a lot of places that are open. So make sure you get some food before you leave. And guys, if you're gonna be out there talking to girls, make sure you check IDs, because at this spot here, you do not need to be over 18 to get in. That's one thing that surprised me. You're not gonna see it. So Thursday night, I didn't see a lot of kids who were under 18. But on Friday night, and I'm assuming because it's the weekend, on Friday night, there were a group of kids who looked like they were in high school. So just make sure you check ID, because you do not want to get into some shit while you're in Cuba. That's one thing that surprised me, because I am not used to being in a spot at night with kids who are underage. So check ID. And they played all kinds of music. They played reggaeton, they played hip hop, they played rock, Spanish rock. Depending on what area you in and what time, they're gonna be playing different things. And if you're interested too, they had different activities that they do during the day, like salsa classes and things like that. So with that being said, I'm gonna let the rest of this performance play out. Check out part 2 so you can see a full tour of the spot and how lit it gets.